Good day. Hello, how are you? Today I want to talk about mindfulness in action and practice off the mat and a couple things you can do to up-level your own mindfulness practice. So I had this client today who has a very important job. He's got 80,000 direct reports, very high stress job, works with the Pentagon, was talking about, I'm not gonna name drop, but he was saying every morning his wife asks him, do you have any big meetings today? And he said, honey, if I have a meeting today, it's a big meeting. And every day he comes home and she asks him the same question or something similar. And he says, it's just one more thing I gotta do. And when we were talking about stress management, using mindfulness techniques for stress management, he doesn't have time at this point in his life literally to sit down and start a mindfulness practice. And so what we started talking about were some simple mindfulness tools to bring in secondary awareness during the event to create reframing opportunities. Now, mindfulness is kind of like, it is neuroscience in action. It's the art of taking attention and intention and shape-shifting our neuroplasticity and our neurogenesis for outcomes that are taking full empowerment over the things that we can control in the situation. He can't control the the pressure of the meeting, of everything that's at stake. He can't control the stakes, but what he can control is shifting his perspective from I have to do this to I get to do this. And so one opportunity for that is just reminding his own brain in the moment through that secondary witness consciousness that I always solve hard problems. I always find a way to solve hard problems. So I offered this up to him, and it was just super cool because he was like, it really was medicine for him in the situation where he didn't see another solution to create mindfulness or opportunity to feel anything but the burden and weight of the obligation of his life in this. So these little simple shifts of reframing are so powerful. They are mindfulness, they are neuroscience, they are the art of the practice of yoga off the mat. And I wanted to bring this up today because I think that it is also an opportunity for us to think about yoga practices like, for instance, a Bhakti Yoga practice. Bhakti Yoga, those of you who are familiar with this, Bhakti is like the yoga of devotion. And not everybody has time, access, or capacity, inclination to practice Bhakti in the way that oftentimes it's offered, like kirtan or ecstatic dance or japa, mantra repetition. And you don't have to start there. That's a great place to build towards. But one of my friends recently was talking about how relationships and their tending to relationships is a devotional practice in and of itself. And I think that it was a similar aha moment to me that I hopefully gave this other person with the mindfulness technique of reframing. It was such a mind-blowing moment for me of like, of course, absolutely. Relationships are our opportunity to practice devotion when we don't have time or access or ability to practice in a more formal way. Really thinking about the ways in which the relationships that we have in our life can be opportunities for devotion is a profound yoga practice off the mat. Some of you might be familiar with Patañjali's Yoga Sutras or the Brahma Vihartas in Buddhist teachings. These are the 4 locks and keys, and I think it's Sutra 133? But the locks and keys are as follows. Like when somebody is happy, the way that we should engage with them, the way that we are told to maintain an unlock of energetic circulation is to be friendly with them. When people are virtuous, we take delight. That is the key for that lock. Those are easy ones, I think. The two tougher ones to discern are unfriendliness and unhappiness and non-virtuousness. When somebody is unhappy, the locks and keys code that we should be compassionate to them. And when somebody is non-virtuous, the antidote is to be, well, this is the tricky one. It says equanimous or non-attached. And we can get into that more in another video, because I do want to spend time with that one, because I think it's a really important one. Upeksha is the word and how that's defined. But what I want to talk today about is when we can't tell if somebody's unhappy or non-virtuous. And sometimes those two things have a bigger crossover than they have distinction. I was at the yoga studio recently, and I am a very happy-go-lucky guy, and I always want to smile. And there's this person that I have a relationship with that I saw there recently, and I was very like, hey, how's it going? And they didn't smile back. They didn't seem to want to engage with me. They seemed very unhappy. And the question in my brain is, are they unhappy? Are they non-virtuous? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. I have to exact a little bit of which key is showing up for me with what's locking. Is it the non-virtuous, the inability to sharing in the delight of joy of being able to get to share this space? And if that's the thing, if I'm taking it personally, their reaction to not validating my positivity and the people pleasing that I sometimes tend to lean into too much, then I just need to just be a little bit more neutral in that situation. But also, it's important for me to practice mindfulness in the way where if I'm being devotional in this relationship to this person who really isn't in my inner circle, he's not a person that's really close to me, but it is a great opportunity for me to also show compassion and recognize what little I know of this person. Maybe they really are going through a hard time and they don't have access to be positive in that moment, to be joyful. And in effect, that response is not about me. And that's just a really great reminder to impart both keys for the lock that it was creating for me. And so sometimes in our relationships, like our partner or our child or our doggy, right here, it's really easy for us to be, look at him, Pete, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Yes, buddy. It's easy for us to find the devotional aspects in relationships. Are we being mindful about it is the question. And that's the challenge for you today as we end this. You don't have to go to like I'm not wishing upon anybody the level of stress and difficulty of the two examples I gave for the person who's working for 80,000 people, and or even the ways in which relationships can rub us the wrong way. But I do wish for you to challenge you in ways to allow mindfulness, and especially specific yoga practices like Bhakti, to be opportunities in your off the mat world for rebuffing the way in which we integrate these things, the way that we engage with relationships. And so that's the question today. What relationships are you feeling opportunities to be increasing in your devotion? And the last thing I want to challenge you with today is that if you feel like it is important to increase your devotion in these relationships, where can you also practice on the mat formal devotional practices or formal mindfulness practices to increase your ability to I hate to say optimize, but to really expand on those real world, real moment, in time, real time, or as the kids would say, IRL opportunities for these practices to engage. I think today is a really good reminder to have those practices off the mat and on the mat, because they serve and feed one another. So, hope this is helpful for somebody out there today. Please like, follow, share, and Petey, come here. Say goodbye, bud. He says bye. Petey's famous.